shopping today.
No.
All right, for everyone present and for those watching on TV tonight, would like to welcome you to the Tuesday evening, June 30th, 2026 meeting of the Coffeyville City Commission. Roll call, please.
Mayor Faulkner.
Here.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Here.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Here.
Commissioner Golden.
Here.
Commissioner Kendall.
Here. At this time, we'll have the invocation.
Pastor Paul.
And looks like Pastor Paul will be doing it for us this evening. Am I coming through? Is my mic coming through? Okay, all right.
There he is. I'm about to give the invocation. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we are so thankful for the opportunity to be here this evening to conduct the business and affairs of the city of Coffeyville. Pray that you will be with each of the commissioners, the mayor, the vice mayor, as they make decisions that affect people here in Coffeyville. We pray that you will continue to bless us. We thank you for the recent rains. We thank you for the reprieve of the rain. We just pray that you will be with us and help us to pull together, Father, to make this the best community we can to live in. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And for everyone's information, I will be declaring a 5-minute recess every hour on the hour, should we go that long. So just be aware. All right. Next, we have the review of the agenda. Any comments regarding additions or corrections?
I will move to amend the agenda to move the proclamation before comments from the public and add new business item number 7, discussion and action on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers agreement.
Second. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to amend the agenda to move the proclamation before comments from the public and add new business item, discussion and action on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers agreement. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye. All right then, concerning this consent agenda, are there any questions, discussions on any items in the consent agenda?
Nope.
There being none, I move to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
All right, moving on, regular agenda items. Excuse me. Public hearings, special presentations, and proclamations. And on the agenda, a proclamation honoring Gail and Kathy Smith for 10 years of dedicated service through Coffeyville's summer celebration. And at this time, I will read the proclamation. Pardon me if I don't stand back issues. Proclamation honoring Gail and Kathy Smith for 10 years of dedicated service through Coffeyville's summer celebration. Whereas, for the past 10 years, Gail and Kathy Smith have generously dedicated their time, talents, and unwavering commitment to organizing and leading Coffeyville's annual summer celebration in observance of Independence Day, and whereas through their vision, leadership, and countless hours of volunteer service, summer celebration has become a beloved community tradition that brings together residents, families, businesses, and visitors in celebration of our nation's independence and the spirit of community. And whereas Gail and Kathy Smith have worked tirelessly to create a welcoming, safe, and memorable event that fosters civic pride, strengthens community bonds, and provides opportunities for people of all ages to gather and celebrate together. And whereas their dedication over the past decade has contributed significantly to the quality of life in Coffeyville and has created lasting memories for generations of citizens and visitors alike. And whereas the success and longevity of summer celebration is a testament to the hard work, perseverance, generosity, and community, and 10 years of dedicated service in organizing and promoting summer celebration, and for their many contributions to the community of Coffeyville. Be it further proclaimed that the Mayor, City Commission, and the citizens of Coffeyville extend their sincere appreciation and gratitude to Gail and Kathy Smith for a decade of making our Independence Day celebrations a source of pride, fellowship, patriotism, and joy for our community. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, to be affixed this 30th day of June 2026. Signed, Mayor of the City of Coffeyville, James R. Faulkner. And thank you very much. All right.
Wait,
Next.
she's going to present the plaque.
And also, too, for everything you've done, we'd like to present you with the key to the city.
Oh. That's beautiful.
Well, it's 10 years, and it just seemed like yesterday we started this. We come to the city after we'd had it in our house for the first 10 years, and at first, I was told that the city usually has theirs on the 4th of July. Well, I had always had it up there on the weekend after, because it seemed like there was a lot of people that were gone to the lakes and vacation, and we always had a better crowd after the 4th. So we still call it the 4th of July. But, we got to basically called it the summer celebration. I can't, all the years, there's just no way that, and I've said this to you before, there's no way in the world that I and Kathy could have done this ourselves. The community has just been great, jumping on board, through donations. We've made this thing, bigger and better, it seems like every year. I couldn't do it without all the people that are behind me. Brady, he's the one that does all the vendors. He gets them in, and then all the kitty car shows. Debbie York, or Denise York and Debbie Carter have taken that over last year and this year. I think she's got some surprises for the kids other than just our medallions and our $10 cash award to all of them that enter. Jake Stoneberger's got a new, I guess, chiropractic service in town, and he's taken over the fun run this year. It's people like that, our bands, retro rockers and backroads band, they've always put on a good show. Mike Bradley, who turned the car show over to him, and he's got his people that kind of organize that, and then Curtis Foster and his team will do the judging this year. Our DJ, Drew Bandit and Andy Vale, they really work all day long about, all of our sponsors. I give them a list, and we recognize everybody in town that donate to to this event. Anyway, trying to think of all of them. Dorothy Perkins from South Coffeyville, and by the way, just in the last 2 years, I've talked to South Coffeyville and I've talked to Deering, and both of our sister cities have jumped on board to this. And we just expanding, our event to, our outside cities to come in and be a part of it. Back to Dorothy Perkins, I talked to her, and the South Coffeyville School Cheer Squad has put on the cornhole tournament last year and another this year, and she says, well, I think we got this down maybe a little better than last year. So they're taking over. I fund the upfront money for the cornhole tournament to start it out, and then whatever they take in from the tournament participants, then I don't know how they got it figured. I leave it up to them, but they just, they split it between the winners and the South Coffeyville School, so it's a win-win. Oh yeah, that was a big deal this year. Our insurance company, when we went to start, we have to have them, or I have to insure them for their liability. Well, the insurance is skyrocketed. So we got on and we announced that we weren't gonna have water slides, and boy, the phone started ringing off the hook. Well, Jolene and Jason Swindell, New Visions Ministry, World Ministries, and they own the S-Mart discount out here where Airgas used to be. And they called me and they said, what's it gonna take to have these water slides back, because we want them to be there. Well, they said they had the insurance on their dry bounce house, and they thought they could include these water slides. Well, it turned out they couldn't. Almost exactly the same time, I got a call from a lady in Tulsa that's called Spacewalk. Spacewalk of Tulsa, and they carried insurance on their water slides, and as long as I would rent the slides from them. So that thing worked out really good. They're going to bring slides up from Tulsa, set them up. They're going to bring people up to attend them, just to watch them, and then they'll take them down at night and let's see. Anyway, it worked out really well. And it would have been possible without Jolene and Jason, getting behind that and working on that for us. Anyway, all the volunteers, and last but not least, Kirk and Seager Stevens and his fireworks. We go back almost to 20 years of it. They did it at our house, and now they're doing it out here, and they're like family to us. They put on a good show. I think they're bringing about, well, I don't know how many people, but I know I ordered, from Wednesday till Saturday altogether, ordered 30 rooms for, and the motel, so anyway, but they put on a good show, and I believe this year with the, Coffeyville's 10th anniversary and 250th birthday of the United States, I think this fireworks show is going to be bigger and better than it ever has.
Excellent.
I don't know what else to say. This is an honor. I feel like I'm at the Emmy Awards now. I feel like I'm on the red carpet coming in. This is just absolutely beautiful.
Well, you've earned that, and
sorry?
you have earned that. And
Well-
we owe you a debt of gratitude, and we're looking forward to the 4th of July fireworks, as you've mentioned, being bigger and better. And so, thank you very much.
It's built up to where it is now, and it's just absolutely a love that we've had. I like fireworks, I'll put it that way, and music, so, but, health-wise, I'm gonna do this as long as I can do it. I came up here when this all first started, and Melissa and who was the?
Mark Hall.
Mark, yeah, Melissa and Mark. I think there might have been a tear shed that day that I told them I had this disease. Not a cancer, but it is a progression, so, but I told them, I'm gonna do this as long as I can do it, even if I'm in a wheelchair and all that. I can still get up, but I got a bad hip now, plus this, so, but anyway, all that aside, as long as I can do it, I'll guarantee you I'll be there to do it. I don't have I sold the tire store, so I don't have all that backing. We're calling it, we're on we're on a fixed income now. But anyway, but regardless, the way that the city and the businesses and the individuals have this year have come forward, we're going to put on a good show. I thank you. Recognition's not my big thing, but this is, I couldn't be more proud. So I guess the strongest words I have is thank you, and I'll continue as long as I can.
Thank you. Thank you.
I asked Melissa, I said, the key of the city, but I started out at the back door. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all that you've done over the years. All right, next we have comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment?
Griffin Walker, 1325 West 9th Street, Coffeyville, Kansas. I also want to say before I begin, thank you to the commissioners and city manager for the Martin Luther King Highway dedication the other day. That was tremendous and a good turnout, so thank you so much for that. I think that was a lot of healing in the community. Now into another really topic that I've been real passionate about. I know city manager and friends have kind of I've talked to them about it. This is a topic of my dear friend Jake Long, little brother. You know, I've had the opportunity to become almost a state championship basketball team. I've had the opportunity to become a national championship college basketball team, but I missed both of those opportunities. And so I cannot call myself a champion. But when you're looking at an individual like Jake Long here on this page here today, he's a world champion. And not just a world champion because he won the world as a healer. He's a world champion because he's a good person, he's a Christian person. And when I was a young kid, his mom here, she brought me into her house and she seen me at school one day with shorts and cowboy boots on. And I still remember it. And she said, "I'm coming to get you to learn to rope." And I said, "I already know how to rope." And she said, "No, you don't." And she brought me and Jake over there and we high school rodeoed and junior rodeoed together until I realized I was good at basketball. But Pam Weatherby here, she never forgot me. And still today, she's impactful to the community. But when I see world champion and accomplishments of Jake Long, I see that's something Coffeyville needs to get behind. I also see that there will probably never be another person, one of the winningest Cowboys in Kansas history. He's got a great family. He's a good representation of our community, of all races and all color. He does this because he loves it and he's passionate about it, and he's represented us, Coffeyville, from the start. If you look at when he gets recognition at the Las Vegas Rodeo, it says Coffeyville, Kansas. It doesn't say where he lives now. And he doesn't have to do that because he's won and did more things than anybody in this room has done in the rodeo world. And so I don't know what we have to do as a community, but I know that I want my son to be a cowboy. And I know there's other people in this community that want their sons to be cowboys. And I think that when people drive through Coffeyville, they should make a correlation between Jake Long at Las Vegas in front of thousands of people where billions of dollars are raised every year, that his hometown's Coffeyville. So don't know if we can put up, if we could put up signage or things that would recognize him, would be a powerful statement because he's one of the winningest Cowboys in the world and of all times. And he's right here from our hometown. And, you know, I'd like to see him in the front stage here, us giving him some recognition. But I think it'd be a truly honor to have this individual come back to our community and give a word of advice of what his journey's been like. And I know a lot of people don't understand rodeo, but there's some times in there where you're penny scratching to pay fees. I've been there. And then you're still trying to pay your house payment. I've been there, you know. And he's kept his family together. I couldn't keep my first family together because of rodeo, but I love it so much I still do it today. And so I'm really passionate about it. I know there's community members that are passionate about it, but I would love the commission to get involved and get behind this because I think there's so much exposure in a world that we haven't experienced. And considering that we are Dalton defenders, known for cowboys and robbers, we have a world champion cowboy. And I just haven't seen the representation that I would love to see from my community if I was a world champion. So thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
Hey, Griff, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
In your perfect world, what do you see as a memorial, or what is something you see in your imagination that says, this speaks of Jake Long and his accomplishments? Where do you put it? What does it look like?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be, I know we have a nice marketing department here because I get to work with Ashley on a regular basis at Boys and Girls Club. But I think there's something that she could meet with the mom and Jake and really sell this because we have a fair and rodeo. We got to put that in consideration every year. You know, Jake, the home of Jake Long, when they're driving in, you know, how do we pub that? Because I think he's going to draw people. You know, it can almost help the rodeo in some ways. There's a lot of things that just his representation. He's getting probably close to retirement, and his mom can probably tell you more. He wants to come back home, but around this area. But I think that if we get with his mother and Ashley, put their creative minds together, I think they could do something that would really touch the cowboy world and really say, hey, that's Coffeyville. And I mean, homes of that is right down the road. You're going to run into the Lowrys. They were big, huge ranchers and cowboys, you know, and they set the precedent. But no one really knows that because you really don't see their history there. So I would hate for us to miss out on a piece of history because we just wasn't told or just didn't understand the concept of what it was about.
Well, what we need is a series of options, if you would, in form of a proposal for the commission, for the city, and again, possibly when Ben gets back, work with our city manager and Ashley, as you've mentioned, and come up with a couple of ideas how that recognition might appear, rather than just, this is fine, we've got all this information, but it needs to be able to translate it into something quick and visible and a one-liner.
Yeah.
Are you thinking signage at the arena?
No,
Or a
I'd probably
plaque.
want it on, I mean, if it was me, I'd want it when people coming in. The Cowboys
Road
know.
sign?
Yeah, I think the sign is somewhere when the people are coming in, because when I'm driving down the highway and I recognize all my Cowboy friends that I've seen in other towns, it's right there on the road. When the Cowboys come in, they see the sign, and the first thing they say is, "Ooh, this is the home of Jake Long." And that's the kind of the signage you want to know, that every Cowboy knows this is where he grew up at, and it's a good place to be, because he went back to that place where he was after he left Texas or wherever he's at. So yeah, I would love to see something. The rodeo, I'd let the fair and rodeo board decide on that if they wanted to put something out there. But our deal of it is we want people to know he's from Coffeyville. And how do we do that? It has to be a message. So whatever you can think of, whatever Ashley, she's really good at messages.
She is.
So whatever we can craft, I think Pam would work well with him. She's a tough person. Let me just tell you, I got some videos at home of me when I was in 6th grade, her yelling at me because I didn't turn the steer quick enough or didn't stay in there long enough. So don't worry, she won't keep her mouth closed. No, I didn't fall off.
Are those videos available for public viewing?
I bet if you get that sign up, she'll give them to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Well, thank you.
Ben, were you trying to jump in there?
Yeah, I've got a few other members of the community approached about this as well, so we'll absolutely start working with the community and get some proposals on.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Griff. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you, Griff. All right. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to make a comment? Please come to the podium and state your name and your address, please.
My name's Charles Hicks, 11001 John Deere Road, Oklahoma, Nowata County. And I'm here I don't understand this raising the water for the people out of town compared to what it's going to charge the people in town. Could you explain that to us? The water rates.
Ben, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Commissioners, I believe the question is if you can explain the difference in in-town, out-of-town rates. The city of Coffeyville's rates have been higher for our out-of-town customers, especially those 7 or 8 rural water districts that we have. And as the rates have come forth and increased, the increases are reflective of in-town and out-of-town rates. Unless there's anything other specific, that's not a new phenomenon in town. The folks out of town have had higher rates than in town.
Did you hear him?
I know. I couldn't understand him.
Just to repeat, basically he's saying that this is not new. We've always had a differential between in-town and out-of-town, but as we've raised rates for our in-town customers, we have similarly raised them for out-of-town customers. And as we, in the past, so we've done now, there is a differential between the in-town and out-town rates.
What's that differential?
If you give me a minute, I'll tell you. Sorry, I'm just pulling the ordinance up right now, so.
I can't hear it. I didn't
I'm
understand.
pulling the ordinance up
Okay,
right
thank
now.
you.
I don't have it memorized off the top of my head.
Okay.
And to clarify, for most of the water that you're talking about is sold to the rural water district, and then it's delivered out to the customers.
True.
So any
I
final
understand, though,
markup
that
is
it's
on.
gonna more than double than what you're raising the rates in Coffeyville inside the city limits. The water rates outside is going to double because we don't live in the city limits.
Well, the
Right.
differential is only about I believe it's $2 or $2.50 per 1,000 gallons. That's the differential that we charge the rural water districts. Whatever they charge the final customers, we have no control over
I
that.
understand that, but also it's based on our charge, what we pay is what you charge our district. As I understand that.
Right, no, it
Yeah,
is.
I
So the
understand that.
differential that we charge your district is a $2 differential, and I'm verifying that that's the exact number, but I believe it's a $2 differential per 1,000 gallons
Mm-hmm.
that we charge to the rural water districts. Now, what they charge you, the end user, how much more they mark it up past that, I don't know, and I could not tell, and I don't know what their rationale is behind how much they mark it up.
But I was under the impression that it was double to what you're gonna raise in town.
No,
Okay,
it's just a $2 different. It's about a $2 differential.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Is anyone else?
Ryan Moeller, 210 Edgewood. First off, I want to say that everything I'm saying, I do plan on emailing you guys, so you guys will have a record. Real quick though, could you tell me what the per 1,000 gallon rate is for the rural water district?
Give me just a second. I'm still pulling the ordinance up.
But you know it's a $2 difference?
It's a $2
So I think the
differential,
question that he
yeah.
might have been asking is, you guys are raising the rates not by necessarily a dollar value, but by a percentage to the rural water district. So the percentage for an out-of-town customer per se ends up being about, on 8,000 gallons, it's $18, whereas it's only $7 for the in-town rate.
It depends on.
So if we can address it on a
Yeah.
percentage basis, then it looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
Not just a dollar basis.
But rural water districts aren't buying 10,000 gallons.
They're what?
They're buying a lot
the-
more, and so you go
that's
into it.
yeah, it's a hard comparison to make because they're
Yeah.
buying hundreds of thousands of gallons.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
10,000. So yeah,
but once it goes through their meeting, and I'll address it later, and that's kind of what I'm talking about too. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm just curious what those are. So I'll just get started, guys, and thank you guys all. I'm here for one reason actually, and that's accountability. Some people in Coffeyville are finally starting to pay attention, and for those who aren't, I intend to make sure that they start. Every document, every meeting, every expenditure, I would like to make it public so taxpayers know exactly where their money is going. Why? Because when city approves a new skid steer the same month electric rates go up, people notice. When you tell me rates need to go up 5% now and 2% later on electric because 7% at the same later date is somehow better for me, not only do I pay attention, I'm actually offended that you guys think I'm that ignorant. So when the electric department shows up to my house in a brand new four-wheel drive Ford trimmer package, I also notice. Taxpayers expect work trucks, not upfitter packages. They expect infrastructure before image. Dang it. Let's see, if we can't maintain infrastructure, then I don't care how many matching grants we accept for things that we may have wanted but don't need. Water rates, as we mentioned, are the latest issue, but they're really just a symptom of the bigger problem. I want to know why no one has been raising concerns about the condition of our water system, and if they did, why those concerns weren't addressed. How did we get to the point where one of the city's most basic responsibilities appears to have been neglected? The city's job is to provide reliable water and electric service. Instead, it appears we keep finding money for new trucks, new cat equipment, and lawnmowers with rear tires that cost $800 a piece. Other purchases as well, while critical infrastructure falls behind. If those purchases were 100% necessary, I'd like you guys to prove it. Show the public the data that has justified those decisions. Show me why it makes sense that every police officer has their own vehicle. So tonight I'm formally requesting complete transparency. I want the full water expense study that was done by the city manager, not just the summary, but every assumption, every calculation, and every supporting document. I also want a complete asset inventory for every city department and utility, including vehicles, equipment, facilities, purchase cost, and replacement schedules. I would like it in an email form since we're all about transparency. I also expect this information without getting a huge invoice for the time and resources it takes to compile this already existing information just because law allows it. I would also like an explanation of why rural customers are being asked to pay more, kind of like he mentioned. We're paying substantially more while maintaining all of our own infrastructure once it goes through the rural water's meter. I would like you guys to show us the math, show us the data, and show us every assumption used to justify those rates. And on a final point, I would like public entities to start spending money like the taxpayers that fund them do. Taxpayers don't get to solve financial problems by simply demanding more money. My insurance increased this year 32% on my house. I don't get to demand a 32% raise from my employer. I had to make difficult choices. That's what families do every day. My daily driver is a 23-year-old car. My newest vehicle is 8 years old. And while I'm not going to assume guilt, I'm curious what the story your guys' asset listing will tell. The city should be expected to do the same as the taxpayer. So before asking taxpayers to pay more, show us that you've done everything possible to spend smarter. And simply keeping the mill levy the same next year is not going to be good enough. So if you guys do make good decisions, this should be a very easy exercise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions?
Nope.
Anyone else? Anyone else would like to make a comment? All right, there being none, comment section is closed. Moving on, there's no old business, and going to new business. First, we have Resolution R-26-75, a resolution to approve a work authorization with Alger Martin and Associates for electrical engineering services at the water treatment plant. Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners. What this is a request for Alger Martin. This is something we have talked about many times before, to them to do the design for the electrical upgrade at the water treatment plant. We got the test results back from all the non-destructive testing that Terracon did and all the concrete structures, and everything tested good or very good. So we're ready to go on with the rehabilitation of the plant. So the first step in that is to have the electrical designed, and then after we get it designed, then we'll go out for bid for that. And that is what I'm asking you to do, the work authorization agreement with Alger Martin.
This is from the electrical, when I toured the plant? Is
Yes.
that what you're talking about?
This will upgrade the electric.
At the,
Is that one of
At
the
the
things
water
that
Yeah,
is
the water treatment plant.
consistently failing out there?
Correct.
Where we have to wait for the breaker to come from overseas?
Well, it doesn't come from overseas, but yes, correct. They have to be rebuilt. They have to be manufactured.
This isn't from the contractor issue about a month ago, is it? When we lost water in the plant for a little bit?
No,
That's not from this?
no.
Jim, it'd probably be worth commenting that it's related to, it's not being caused by that, but that whole situation was possible because we have an aged electric infrastructure within the water treatment plant itself. That should not have been that big of an issue had this been upgraded already. So,
How old is that system?
I believe the plant is 53 or 54, 55 years old, and that is new to the plant when it was constructed.
So we've got 52, 53-year-old products out there limping along.
Correct.
We've discussed this before in other meetings, but in the future, long-term, what will be the cost to replace the water treatment plant?
To replace the
To
plant?
replace it,
In today's dollars, you're looking at $80 million.
$80 million, all right?
Correct.
And to repair it so that it would continue for a few more years?
We're hoping we can get by for 15 to 20 million over the next 20 years.
15 to 20 million to get by another 15 or 20 years, or a total replacement of 80 million?
That is correct.
And what is the current projection to fund those repairs?
Currently, the rate increase that we have is what's going to fund these repairs, also create a fund to put money away, because the time we're hoping this plant will last another 25 or 30 years. And at that time, the cost to construct a new plant would be somewhere around that $100 million. So if we're able to increase the rates, put some money aside every year, that way we would have maybe a 20 or 30% down payment instead of having to finance the entire structure.
So we might, in the future, we might be asking the citizens to vote on a $80 to $100 million bond issue. Is that correct?
Perhaps, yes.
Okay. Or we gradually, over time, put enough money aside that we'll just be able to pay for it.
That is
Correct?
correct. Well, make a large down payment for it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. That should answer a portion of your questions.
And
Ryan.
Jim, Ben's not here with his crystal ball, but I'd like to kind of play with it a little bit. How close were we as city of Coffeyville over these last few incidents to becoming a Boyle advisory?
A lot closer than any of us would like to be. That's kind of what the water department prides themselves on, is delivering quality water all the time. And there's been some instances where we had the electric go down, unable to put it back, and we got very close, but we did not reach that threshold. But it's enough to scare all of us that are dealing with the water,
Yeah.
to know that it could have been disastrous.
Thank
Can
you.
you explain how the contractor issue relates to this? That Marty mentioned had some relation to it.
You mean
The contract, yeah, with the
When they-
contractor that
water,
got into the
yeah.
electric and knocked the
Yes. How does
transformer
that
offline?
relate?
That has no bearing whatsoever on this.
Marty
this
said that
did-
had some issues though with it.
I think what Marty was referring to was that highlighted the issue of having old hardware inside the plant. Because if it had been upgraded, we would have been just able to flip the breaker back on. But these breakers were old, they had to be pulled out, they had to be rebuilt. We were lucky enough to find parts at the electric plant that they had from years gone by, and they were able to cobble one together to limp us along until we was able to get the others rebuilt. They are, because they're so corroded, because of the chemicals that were used to treat the water over the last 50 years, we have ordered 2 more. They have not come in yet. There was about a 6-week lead time on those. They had to be built from old parts that they had. So right now we just have the 3, and they are mostly wore out. So as soon as the other 2 get in, we should be able to make it for the next year, and that's about when we're hoping they will have these designs done and construction started on replacing the electric out there.
Are we holding the contractor accountable for what happened?
The electric department can hold the contractor responsible. Our electric tripping off and not being able to come back on, that is totally 100% on the city for not upgrading earlier.
All right, thank you.
So in essence, there's no liability on the end of the contractor
Any liability would be
because of
to-
the age of the system.
Yes, it's just because it malfunctioned, because of the age and the corrosion, that it's kind of hard to hold somebody responsible because you didn't upgrade your equipment.
Understood. Thank you, Jim.
Any other questions? Now I move to approve Resolution R-26-75 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Commissioner Golden to approve Resolution R-26-75 as presented. Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Number 2 on
Jim.
the list. Resolution R-26-76. A resolution to authorize the mayor to execute and submit the recommendation for award of a construction contract to the FAA, execute the construction services agreement with Lochner, and to execute the respective project grant application upon receipt from Lochner after receiving the FAA concurrence and award for the runway 1735 mill and overlay project. Superintendent of Parks, Jared Powers, will make comment.
Mayor and Commissioners, a little bit of background for the new commissioners. This is a grant project we've been working on for about 4 years now. We're to that stage where we need to go ahead and put in the grant application. The Lochner went out for bid. It came in, engineer's estimate, $1 million lower than what we originally estimated. And it's time to, if we're gonna do it, they want your blessing to sign off to apply for the grant and construction services agreement with Lochner. If you have any questions, I'd be happy
What's
to answer.
the what's the city match per grant?
110,000.
For a grand total of?
110,300. 2,200,000.
Thank you.
So our cost will be $110,300.
Yes, sir.
Right.
On a
And
$2 million plus
On a
project.
$2 million project.
This is a 1-inch mill. They'll go to all the cracks and take them down to full depth replacement, asphalt, crack seal, and then a 2-inch overlay, full width, full length,
Nice.
And repaint.
Okay.
and repaint, yes.
And you say full width, does that include the extensions we previously discussed?
Yes, the
25-foot
full
extension?
100 feet wide
Nice.
by 5,868 feet long.
All right, excellent, thank you.
can you explain how it helps the regular taxpayer, the regular citizens of Coffeyville?
The airport is a valuable street. It brings a lot of businesses in there, the refinery. There's multiple businesses I could tell you about, but they buy fuel, they rent hotels, they go to restaurants.
Air ambulances.
We have fixed wing helicopters, but we have some crop dusters that are based here that buy lots and lots of fuel from Coffeyville, electric, internet, water.
All right, thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
and I'll jump in there too. From an economic development standpoint, over the last 2 years, I've been talking to all sorts of developers. These big businesses like CVR and John Deere, they're going to come to communities where they have access like this. That's why Independence has one as well, and these are all over the country. And why these grants are in such a good favor to us, because the FAA and Ultimate Transportation Authority recognizes that value. The other value within that is actually there's a significant amount of use for medical care in that of our community. So it's not just for the benefit of these big businesses, but these big businesses employ a lot of people here locally. And when they come here, and those that are looking to relocate here, having an airport is a vital component to your community.
Thank you.
Will this improvement increase the runway weight-bearing capacity?
Yes, sir. Won't know until they actually do the calculations when it's finished, but yes, we will be thicker than we are now.
All right, thank you.
All
Any
right,
other
if there's
questions?
no other questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-26-76.
Second,
I actually need you to read the
I was
full
trying.
motion
All right.
per the FAA
Go ahead.
guidelines on
Okay.
this
read the
one.
whole thing.
Move to approve Resolution R-26-76, a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute and submit the recommendation for award of a construction contract to the FAA, execute the construction services agreement with Lochner, and to execute the respective project grant application upon receipt from Lochner after receiving the FAA concurrence in award for the runway 17-35 mill and overlay project.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve Resolution R-26-76, a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute and submit the recommendation for award of a construction contract to the FAA, execute the construction services agreement with Lochner, and to execute the respective project grant application upon receipt from Lochner after receiving the FAA concurrence in award for the runway 17-35 mill and overlay project. Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Moving on, ordinance G-26-08, an ordinance amending Chapter 30, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, to establish certain fishing rules for LeClaire Lake. City Clerk Melissa Carter will make comments, and Superintendent of Parks Jared Powers and City Attorney Paul Kreitz are available for questions.
Mayor and Commissioners, as you know, LeClaire Lake is maintained by the City of Coffeyville. It's historically served as a recreational fishing destination for local residents and visitors. We periodically stock the lake and invest resources to maintaining a quality fishery for public enjoyment. The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks regulations do allow certain forms of net fishing in public waters. However, LeClaire Lake's size and fish population differ significantly from larger reservoirs and state-managed bodies of water. City staff have received reports of individuals using nets to harvest bait fish and not returning a larger fish caught in the net. We've actually discussed that a few times here in the commission meeting, as residents have brought the concern to you as well. The use of nets has resulted in concerns of the removal of the mature sport fish from LeClaire. Unlike traditional rod and reel, net fishing can result in the harvest of multiple fish at one time, including the larger breeding size fish that are important in maintaining a healthy fish population. City staff has consulted with Colby Austin, the game warden for the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, regarding these concerns. While net fishing is generally permitted under state regulations, department representatives have indicated their agreement that net fishing is not appropriate for a small municipal lake such as LeClaire due to the potential impacts on fish population and the recreational fishing experience. This proposed amendment would clarify the list of prohibited fishing methods at LeClaire Lake to specifically prohibit all forms of net fishing. This action is intended to protect the lake's fishery resources, preserve recreational fishing opportunities, and supports the city's ongoing investment in maintaining the lake. The proposed ordinance amendment establishes clear prohibition on net fishing and allows violators to be prosecuted at misdemeanor offenses. Staff believes meaningful penalties are necessary to discourage unlawful practices and protect the lake for all users. And I said Jared or Paul can answer any legal questions concerning the ordinance.
Questions, commissioners?
Does this
It's a
mean
good
more?
idea.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I agree.
I saw some net fishing here that I
It's been a
wasn't.
concern to a lot of people, so we appreciate
Does this
that.
mean more signs? Are
Yes.
you gonna have to put signs out there?
One sign.
One sign?
Is there any benefit to disabled fishing people to use a net?
Not that I'm aware of. I spoke with Kansas Fish and Wildlife several times, and they don't agree with it on that size of lake. And if you're disabled, I'm not sure if you could go down there with a net and do that.
Okay. And from my own knowledge, we're not talking about the net. When I get that 8-pounder, we're talking about throwing it out
Right,
there.
a cast net,
All right.
and you're supposed to release any.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, I'll move to approve first reading of ordinance G-26-08 as presented.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Second.
You got it.
Okay. Motion is made by Commissioner Hendricks, seconded by Commissioner Golden, to approve the first reading of ordinance G-26-08 as presented. Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, number 4, discussion of potential abatement action for the Brown Building located at 129 West 9th Street. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will lead the discussion. Resolution R-26-77 will be voted on if Commission decides to move forward with abatement.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So if you guys remember, back in April, we passed a resolution approving the abatement of this property. We went out to bid. We received one bid from Decker Construction for $11,975 to board up the windows and secure the tile that is falling off of the side of the building. The reason we're here tonight is to discuss whether or not we want to move forward with this. This property is set to go up to tax sale this fall in Montgomery County, and they owe about $40,000 in taxes. The question is, do we want to spend this money to abate this issue for it to be sold and potentially A, have to start over, or B, we just lose out on this funding altogether and we're just back in our same spot again?
So we could potentially lose the $11,000.
Yep,
But it will be assessed against the property, correct?
it would be, but I mean, we would be back in the same boat, waiting 3 years to move forward again, and
So if we just let it go to tax sale and not do anything, we'd really be $11,000 ahead.
yes.
Barring any cleanup or new damage.
Yes. And I mean, more windows are being broken out as we speak, more tiles are falling off. This is an ongoing issue. We still have our fencing up because things are still falling down. The hope is somebody buys it, rehabilitates it, and then we don't actually have to go in and abate it.
But if you abate it now, you can get rid of the fencing on the sidewalk.
We do. Yes.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's pretty bad right now.
It's not attractive at all.
It's
But-
not attractive, but it's $11,000.
Yeah, and
I
if
agree.
if it goes to tax sale, wouldn't we get that 11 back
This wouldn't be
Not
assessed
necessarily.
until the following year.
the following year?
Assuming someone buys it.
Yes.
Right.
Somebody will buy it.
Again, with the crystal ball.
Somebody will,
What is
you're right.
what is an average monthly cost just to keep it safe?
Just to keep it safe, we would have to board up every single window in that building, and this is only boarding up the ones that are currently broken. I would estimate that to be 3 times the cost we currently have quoted here.
And that was an estimate or a bid?
This is a bid.
So if let's say we do not spend that money and the tax sale goes through, does that new buyer have a certain length of time to make it safe?
We would start the whole process over again. We'd send the letters, we'd reach out, we'd have to do a hearing. I mean, the entire process starts.
But it could be done quickly.
It could be, yes.
But
What I'm saying is, Bo, a new buyer, wouldn't they have some time to start the process? Because if I bought a building, I'd need a little bit of time to get going.
Oh, yeah, we will definitely work with a new
That's what
buyer
I'm
to
saying.
make
That's what I'm saying.
repairs, and we would immediately
Well-
go, okay, time for you to make these
Right,
repairs.
that's what I'm asking.
But on this case, the buyer should know what they're getting into.
Well, they should know what they're getting, absolutely.
They should know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
They see the billing. They know they need to start making repairs immediately, day one.
So this, I mean, this is a
Or don't
life
buy
and
the
safety
building.
issue. We do have windows and glass falling on the sidewalk. So that's something you need to consider is, do we want to wait or?
I think if it sells, you assess it. We may have to wait, but eventually we get the money back.
Okay.
Do we get the money back?
It will be assessed to taxes.
Yes.
And somebody will have to pay.
I mean, it's like.
I mean, it'll be
we do or we
assessed,
don't.
it'll be assessed to taxes, but that doesn't mean it will be paid in full.
So we could lose the full money.
Mhm.
Okay, so then what happens in, they come in, Decker comes in and fixes it in 30 days. And then another 60 days, there's more windows busted, more bricks falling, we're gonna have to spend another 12,000.
Yep,
So
we'll
then
have-
we're gonna be easily in 25,000 into it without 100% recovery process.
Yep.
We may or may not.
Yep.
What's the minimum we have to spend right now to make it safe?
The 11,000.
11,900.
That's the absolute minimum to
That's the
fix
minimum we would have to
fix a
spend.
few windows.
Yep.
It's boarding up, and right now, with the broken windows, pigeons and birds are flying in and out of there as
And
well,
that's what's
and making
causing
the building
the
worse.
additional broken windows.
Is that, but the basic structure of the building itself, is it intact, is it safe, the basic structure?
Would you go in it?
We have.
No, I
We
couldn't
have.
answer that.
The question is it repairable?
I would say it is. I mean, we've had people interested in it. We've had engineers go into it. I would say it's repairable, but it's going to be very costly to repair that building.
I'm on the side of trying to bait it to the point right now of getting rid of keeping things from falling down on the sidewalk. It'd be awful if it happened if somebody was walking by. That's a little bit of my fear. I know the chances are
I guess the
slim.
question would be, what if something else, because the building is in such bad shape, we fix that,
And I
something
get
else
that.
could fall.
But that right now, that's the known quantity right now.
That is true.
And if something more happens later,
We would
could-
go through the process again. We would send the letters. We would say, hey, you have
Yeah.
a new issue.
I'm wanting to get rid of that fence on the sidewalk.
It is
'cause
very
it's a blight.
ugly, yes.
It's a blight on downtown. It's been there for a long time.
I guess my issue is how much are we willing to spend in the long run to not have a 100% recovery process?
Not much.
Because if we, like I said, we put the 12,000 in, we fix it, a couple months down the road, nobody buys it or the tax sale hasn't come yet, then more bricks start falling because of the condition of the building. Then then you got to come back with another 12 or 15 or 20 or however much. That can easily turn into $100,000
So-
that we're not going to have.
Yes, that's the same concept of mowing. You know, how far are we willing to go on mowing properties? We'll mow these properties over and over again. We don't always get that money back. I mean, that's the
Here's
devil
my
of code enforcement of we have things we have to abate and clean up. It's not guaranteed we're going to make our money back by doing this.
And here's my thoughts looking even further out. If we don't do something to abate it now, again, I get the point. I don't want to spend any money on this, and I totally get that. But if we don't abate some now, and let's just, I say hope nothing else gets worse. If we didn't do this and it got worse and worse and worse and worse, and nobody
Eventually
bought
we
it,
would be
eventually
tearing
we're
the
going to be
building down.
tearing it down for $1 million.
Yeah.
And now this will look really cheap
Yes.
when that happens.
So
And
if-
you have to weigh the risk.
I know, so if this 11,975 gets spent, does that close up the building to keep all the pigeons out?
It closes up all of the broken current windows. That doesn't mean pigeons won't go and find a new access or break through the windows. It doesn't mean wind damage could break windows. That could still happen on the current windows that aren't damaged.
Sounds like a great relocation for our feral cats.
That'll make it worse. But that's where I'm thinking further out. And my
Yeah, but if
option
it
is
goes
not
up for
spend any
tax
money.
sale in
Then the
August,
taxes get assessed the next year. If the person pays it, we do get our money back.
do get our money
There's a
back.
possibility we don't. There's a possibility we do. And this
Well,
would have helped.
Commissioners, oftentimes in those tax sales, you try to incentivize other buyers by not having that tax burden passed on to them, and so that will be a conversation we'll have to have as well. So I don't want you to think that we are getting this money back. It's very likely, as Amber said, in the code enforcement world here, that we don't see this money back. But we have a public safety issue today because a property owner refuses to take care of their property, and that's what we're trying to decide. Should we address it now? Again, there is a tax sale in a few months. A new owner could come in and address it immediately, and we will make sure in that tax sale, anybody who's interested in this property, we will have information there. We'll have representatives there to tell them what they're getting, because we want someone that wants to show up and be responsible for the building, not sit on it for a number of years.
Can I offer a couple of cents worth?
Please.
Please do.
I think there is definitely a safety concern there, but that safety concern has been there for a while now. My suggestion would be wait and see what happens at the tax sale. Maybe we'll get a responsible buyer, and then they'll absorb the cost of making the property safe and secure.
Yep.
And if not, then you always have the option of going in there and doing the action that's being proposed tonight.
I guess that's where I was thinking, is we'll do it after the tax sale, or
The tax sale is probably going to be around October the 1st, so we're 3 months away.
You're talking about safety and things falling down. I have another concern right now too for the future buyer. We want somebody to buy it and refurbish it. Broken windows are letting rain in. And
It's not gonna rain,
water getting in there is making it worse. Eventually you can withstand a little bit, but more and more makes the building worse. in the walls, in the structure, and if they notice that and walk away from it because they don't want to deal with that, that's where I'm heading to, is that train of thought, is keep water from getting in the broken windows.
I'm my opinion at this point is that I would begrudgingly move that we spend the money in order to prevent any additional damage, either through weather or animals, so that it would at least appear somewhat attractive for a potential buyer at the tax sale.
Are you moving to do that?
That's, and
My opinion is
more discussion.
they're gonna see it, if somebody's gonna buy that building at the tax sale, they're probably looking at it now. They know what they're getting.
When is that sale coming?
Around October 1st.
I mean, these people know what they're getting themselves into. Fixing a few windows isn't gonna make or break
No, they're not
sale.
fixing them. They're just boarding them up.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I don't know that that's gonna change somebody's mind in that length of time.
Jim, was that a motion?
It's got a point.
Was that a motion that you made?
No, it was not a motion. That was just sort of an opinion to begrudgingly spend the money. But as Vice Mayor said, if somebody was going to buy it, they're probably already looking at it.
There's absolutely no begrudging opinion on me to spend money that we may not be getting back. That just doesn't sit
So we
well
got-
with me at all.
We got 3 more months.
All right,
We got 3 more months.
so let's
and
wait and see.
Yep.
Okay.
wait and see.
Let's take council's advice and wait and see.
I agree.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Amber.
Do you need a break?
All right, at this time then, I'm going to declare a 5-minute recess to reconvene at 7:40.
Do we gotta approve that or deny it?
There's nothing happening.
Let it go.
Next on the agenda, discussion and action on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers agreement. City manager will make comments. And Ben, are you still there with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a meeting with the Corps of Engineers. We had about 9 folks from the Corps come up last week now. We had 2 county commissioners there. Our vice mayor was there. Several other community members that have an interest in knowledge and history of the levee, including CRNF. We did a presentation to them. This was a new group that had not been up here before, and didn't learn a lot of new things from them outside of some of the practices that they're trying to now implement, which are a change under President Trump's administration, and so they're supposed to speed up on their process. Now, I say speed up. The study that they're here to do is expected to take 3 years. So I guess to do a study that is sped up. Within that study, I have gone to the newly formed temporary Verdigris River Drainage District number 1 board, which is made up of our county commissioners, and discussed with them the agreement that I want to discuss with you this evening. They did agree initially to be part of that with a lot of hesitancy. The agreement that we need to sign effectively says that we are committing to pay a maximum of $1.5 million for the study on the levee. Now, as many of you know, and we have talked in the last few meetings, I've given you small updates on this. These meetings have been led by both the city and Rick Whitson, who was he's newly retired, but he was the county emergency manager. And these meetings have been happening since 2019, trying to discuss what should happen with the levee and what are the concerns. And we've got about $300,000 worth of grants that have gone into that levee and other studies. And it's gained enough interest that Senator Moran got it on an appropriations bill at the federal level to pay for the Army Corps' side of at least the first year of that study, which was about $500,000. And currently, the senator is out trying to obtain the rest of those funds for the Corps to be here over the next 2.5 years. Almost 3 points. So as a local body here, we have a decision to make, and it's what I told our county commissioners. Within this agreement that I would like permission to sign, it states that we will commit this $1.5 million that will be spread out over 3 years. They have no idea how much, they can't tell us rather, how much each year. That'll be incrementally as they go through their study. After they came and met with us, we toured the levee, and they spent the next 2 days down in Tulsa with 2 generals from the Corps, one from the Southwest District, one out of D.C., about 30 or so people. And so we have federal interest in our levee, and now we have to decide local interest. What I'm proposing is that we sign this agreement so that we can continue to move forward, because nothing can be done to our levee without a Corps of Engineers study on the levee. They anticipate about a $50 million project completely to fix the levee. And that's an economist, frankly, just putting out some numbers. That will be well in the future, and the study will ultimately determine exactly the amount and what would need to be done. We have about $400,000 in our economic development fund that I'm proposing that we commit that $400,000 and sign this agreement. And knowing that there is a 30-day sort of get-out-of-jail-free card or golden parachute here, that if any time we decide the amount that they're proposing is too much, we do not want to continue with this study on our levy, that we can give them that 30 days notice and be done with it, not have to pay anything more. The Verdigris River Drainage District only has around 82 people that can vote within that district to increase the tax levy within that district. And so the Verdigris River Drainage District, in my estimation and my recommendations, has a lot of work to do to go find an active board, to get that board to be levying taxes, and ultimately those taxes are going to be paying Coffeyville for the maintenance of this levy, because it is not our levy. The Verdigris River Drainage District owns this levy. We are the administrator and the operator of the levy to meet all of the Corps' requirements and to keep the levy in a condition where it can protect. So there is a 30-day notice that we can pull out. I want the commission to commit this $400,000 within our economic development fund and allow me to sign this so we can keep inching through the progress on what is this going to take. Now, I already have Senator Moran's office that is telling us that they are out trying to find more money to support us both in this and the efforts towards this $50 million worth of project. If we ever got to that $50 million, our portion of that $50 million that they would expect from us would be around $17 million. And Senator Moran's office wanted us to be sure and not run away from the study yet because of that dollar amount. There's plenty of time to pull out if needed, but they believe that there are federal resources that can be accessed to support at that level of the project. So the current $1.5 million that we need to be able to commit, I've got CRNF that has reached out to me and they want to contribute. And so we're in conversations on how they could support that study and that $1.5 million over 3 years. As I mentioned, Senator Moran's office, Jonathan Boo and the county are looking into grant options that they can apply for. We have other grant options as well as a USDA loan, which I believe being a federal project, federal interest levy, that the USDA would be very easy for us to go get those loans. Those loans are generally a payback. You get a portion of the loan covered and you have to pay back the remaining. So commissioners, I need to leave it up to you. Some of you were here for the flood. Some of you are probably all too familiar with the chaos that created and have been a part of this process since 2019 on what do we do. And staff is looking for direction if you'd like us to continue to have these conversations and make these commitments so that we can ultimately really see what this is going to take. And again, the 1.5 is an estimation. I think we should plan on that over 3 years, but the funding is going to come down to us, not the owner of the levy, if we want to get this done. So I will turn it over to you for any questions.
Ben, what is the final end game for ultimate levy? You said fix the levy. You know, what are there weakened points that need to be addressed, or are we talking about raising the height of the levy? Because the flood of 2007, there were some who thought the levy had failed when it didn't. It's just the river crested several feet above the existing levee. So where are we going? What's the end game?
Well, that's what the study is. The study is the end game. The study will tell us what needs to be done. They will have recommendations. I can tell you today with the smaller studies that we've completed, we had a small core study from a few years ago. We have a study right now at the state level that's being finalized. Essentially, that bridge that goes over the river there at the highway is causing a lot of issues, and that will be part of that study. Do we need to add another bridge? Do we just need to add ability for water to get around the highway and continue like it always had before the bridge? Do we just need to raise the levee? So some of our studies are suggesting that the levee needs to be raised, but there'd be a lot of work that has to go into that. I believe it's for every 1 foot of levee that goes vertical, you have to go 4 feet out. So that's the end game right now is purely the study and getting through the study to see what the Corps is going to recommend. And they will, I'm told, give us several options of what they believe should happen.
So is the real end game that the area on the east side of town is considered a flood zone? It's like a 500-year flood zone. That it be deemed with a higher levy to a never flood zone, and therefore you can go back in and build businesses there.
Because it's not open, it really can't develop that east side of town right now.
Right, because of that.
Because of the flood.
Next year.
Now, in practicality, one of the reasons it flooded back in 2007 was, as I remember, river gauges were broken upstream, and so they weren't managing the reservoirs properly because none of the river gauges were reading correctly. And now they are. They're new. They're digital, and they have a better chance of managing that. But still, the worst
19
could.
years ago today.
Yeah, the first. That's right.
Well,
The worst could happen. But what I'm saying is,
and they're not using data from 2007. They're calling that an outlier now, so they won't use that data. But because we got so close in 2019, and I believe it was not as close, but in 2017, that those data points are now causing that federal interest. So yes, it's about developing on that side of town. It's about the businesses, the residences that are over there being able to have a certified levee protect them versus being in that flood zone. My argument from the beginning is one of the biggest reasons in this area is the industry surrounding CVR. That is not just a city or county asset, that's a regional and national asset. I think that's one of the reasons why you see so much federal interest here currently and why the Corps is here. So there's a lot of end games here. Federally, really to protect those assets, you can call that economic assets, national security assets, whatever you may, when you talk about refineries, and not just the refinery, but the businesses around it that have similarities there. So yes, from a person having flood insurance to the businesses that are there, this is both preventing and allowing a certification of a levee, so that the insurance issues and parameters can be met as well.
You said you're talking to CRNF?
I am talking to CRNF, yes.
And you said that they may want to contribute?
Yes, they've emailed me asking for details, see how they can support. And so that email came in today. They were also in the meeting. They heard the details. The unique thing here is technically the Verdigris River Drainage District levee ends at Sunflower, but the refinery has a levee internally that continues from Sunflower and covers that plant as well. And so that is part of the study that the Corps is considering. CVR, CRNF, they want to raise their levee. They want their levee to be higher. Their levee is regulated by KDHE because that is a floodplain, and so they're not able to raise it without this study either. And so they are definitely a partner that is showing up to participate.
Hey, Ben, real quick question. This I think you said $1.5 million over 3 years for the study. Now, that is a study only. That's not one scoop of dirt from a shovel, not one bucket from a bucket truck. That's just people coming out giving opinions?
That is just a study. These 30 or so people in the room in Tulsa from all over the country. You have economists and biologists and engineers, and it was amazing the power that was at work in that study for 2 days down in Tulsa. But yeah, your study is paying for the federal government to engage all of their employees, contractors, whoever they may be, to go make a determination on what has to happen to get this levee in a condition it should be.
And without the study, we won't know any hard number on bids to get that, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing that can be done to this levee without a Corps study. We already have some regulations from the Corps They come out monthly and are inspecting it, our local district here. So anything that happens to that levee has to go through the Corps. So this study is sort of the key to open up those door of options.
Thank you.
Does the Corps of Engineers do the study, or do they work with a third party?
Everyone that came to our meeting, all 9 of them were employees of the Corps. I say employees. I know they have contracts, 1099 employees as well, but predominantly it's them doing it in-house, is my understanding.
But so this money pays the Corps, goes to the Corps.
Yes, this money is paying for that study, whatever resources are put into place for that study. And they're covering 50%. And when I say they are, that's Senator Moran getting appropriations designated to them. And they expect locally to match that 50%.
And then locally, our match, you're asking for up to $400,000, but to help fund this study.
Well,
but
what I'm asking for is to put that $400,000, commit that $400,000 now. I believe that will cover us for the first year. We will absolutely have to come back if there is more money needed or we can't find money from these other sources. And if that's the case, I'm not sure how we go and fund this. And so we will be out chasing down all of these options to find other money to support this.
But even in this first $400,000, you're trying to find grants and other sources.
I think
Or
yeah,
not.
that's
the
really
$400,000 we have in our Fund 180. It's an economic development fund. And so I can reasonably commit that because I know I have it and it can be used towards this. And so we could use that $400,000 and have that be part of a match to a greater grant or down payment to a USDA loan for the $1.5 million. We could just use that as our payment for this first year to get us through until we find out what those other sources are. So it's undetermined how I will put this $400,000 to work. If we're going to do a loan, if we're going to do grants, we would come back to you and let you know that we're using that money as our portion of those. But one way or another, I have to have funds available to be paying them as they request.
And it's undetermined how much the county will pitch in.
Yeah, undetermined. So far, we have a lot of willing partners. I think the county's biggest concern is if we were trying to recommend levying that small Verdigris River Drainage District as the sole provider of the $1.5 million, and that was not our intent. And so we are trying to find that support and give support ourselves. Even though it's not our levy, it does obviously affect us in the city more than anyone else in the county.
This may be a silly question, but might we assume that if we approve this, that the Corps, rather than coming back and just saying, yep, it needs to be fixed, they would come back with specific recommendations and cost estimates?
Yes, that'll take the 3 years, but at the end of that 3 years, we will have all of that work done, yes.
All right.
Did you say there was a state study being done?
So we have a state partner that we applied through a grant, and with that grant money that we were awarded, they hired an engineer firm, and that engineer firm has done that study. We've received those results back, and we'll be giving those results to the Corps. In fact, I think we already have, as well as the first study. And those studies may, and I want to say may because they didn't promise anything, they may go towards a portion of that 1.5. So if they determine that those studies were done in the appropriate time frame that they expect and had information that they would otherwise need to do, they can accept that work. And so that would be around $300,000 that would go towards that 1.5, but that is still undetermined if those studies will go towards it.
It's a lot to think about.
Huh?
To me, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, I think that
If we don't
The
spend it, we
safety
don't
net
know what
here
the
is that
issues
we
are.
can pull the plug on this anytime. We can give you
But if you
updates
got a
as we
state
go
study,
along. We can go out
That
and
one got a
look
state
for
study.
other monies. There
Yeah,
is
but I
that
don't know
safety
that the
net.
state
This is not
study, the
a,
state study's not gonna be as
you're agreeing
comprehensive.
today and we're locked in for 3 years and 1.5 million. What you're agreeing to today is that we sign the agreement that says we want to move forward day by day, week by week. And you're letting me know that you're agreeing to accessing that economic development money, $400,000 worth, to pay as we go through this process. And we'll bring back regular reports as we get them on the status and the expectation of those funds. So we can make a determination on this just isn't going to work, but really the goal would be to go find this money in other places and other sources, which I believe exist for this very cause.
Hey, Ben, if we got a state study they're waiting on to get, how many times do we have to study this before we can do something? Because if we're having state studies at the state level, the local level, I mean, how many studies are we going to need?
Yeah, so each of these studies are, I would say, a very small component of this overall Army Corps of Engineers study. They're gonna take it further than any of these other studies have done. So one of the studies was about flow rate under the bridge to determine what it was, and we've found that directly under the bridge there, the amount of velocity of water that comes through there is a major concern. That study was a few years ago. The study currently right now is what level is the water at certain heights along the entire length of the levee. So those are just small pieces to a large study that would have to happen in order for any type of work to be done on the levee.
So this study is just going to build on past studies.
I didn't quite hear you there.
So this study with the Corps of Engineers is just going to build on past studies. But I'm also thinking, I don't think a federal grant would be allowed without a full U.S. Army Corps of Engineers study. Is that correct?
I think the bottom line is nothing, absolutely nothing will happen unless the Army Corps of Engineers gives it their blessing.
Yeah, and their blessing happens through this study. We're not going to be able to go get federal funds to do something out there. If we all of a sudden found federal funds that said raise the levy, you have to go back to them. They have to study it anyways to make a determination.
So this gets the ball rolling.
Well, the ball's been rolling by the city of Coffeyville and the county since 2019, but we're finally, it's taken that long to get to a point where the Corps is here. They have federal interest dictated by an appropriations bill. And so they're ready to play now. They've been participating in these meetings. I think in 2019, 2020, the city and the county were having monthly meetings with all these partners. So this has been a long time coming, and hours and hours and hours of meetings to get us to this point. So this keeps the ball rolling. It's finally to a point maybe where we are at the top of the hill and it can start gaining some momentum without us pushing.
Okay,
All right,
let's do it.
all right. Any further questions?
No.
All right, then I move to approve the city manager to sign an agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and commit up to $400,000 from the Economic Development Fund.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to approve the city manager to sign an agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and commit up to $400,000 from the Economic Development Fund. Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
No.
Commissioner Kendall.
No.
Mayor Faulkner.
Yes?
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 3-2. Next up, city manager's report. Ben?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things to discuss tonight. Before I do that, I do want to quickly turn it over to Melissa to talk about fireworks, since that's the time of year we're at.
Yes, so tomorrow actually starts the legal hours and days for sale and discharge of fireworks. So that is July 1st through July 4th, 8 a.m. to midnight. We have 5 applications for fireworks stands. They will all be inspected by the Coffeyville Fire Department tomorrow. Everything looks good. They'll get the permits and they will be open for business. Just a couple reminders. Bottle or skyrockets can't be sold or shot in Coffeyville. Some places that you cannot shoot fireworks: public streets, alleys, parks, or public places. Also in the business district downtown, that's 8th, 9th, and 10th Street from the railroad crossing east to Patterson to Elm, Maple Street from 7th south to 10th, and Walnut from 7th Street south to the railroad crossing. And of course, within 100 feet of any retail stand that is selling fireworks. So want everybody to have fun, just stay safe, and Ashley will be putting all of this information out, also where the stands are that are permitted tomorrow, on Facebook and on the website.
Thank you, Melissa. Commissioners, I want to take a few moments to provide an update. I've been talking to you about developers that have shown up over the last 2 years that I've been here, and I've met with dozens of them from a variety of different industries, but predominantly it's been data center developers that have come to Coffeyville. And so I want to let both Commission and the public know what they can expect over the next several weeks as we've had these discussions. So just in the last several months, we have been engaging in discussions with some data center developers that have come further than all of the rest of the last 2 years. And a lot of that is what we push back on, the things that we hear that aren't appropriate. Early on, 2 years ago, I had one that wanted 3.5 million gallons of water a day. They asked if they could have all of our water from wastewater plant, which is about 2.8 million gallons a day. So when we've heard concerns like that, we push back. But we're to the point where we have some that are addressing the concerns that we've had. As these discussions continue with them, I believe it's important that we are transparent, both, of course, with you, the Commission, and the community. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of opinions and thoughts on data centers. And, of course, that's increasingly important part of infrastructure that we all know and love. As we move more and more into a digital world, there's more and more reliance on that, whether it's your bank, whether it's a computer you use, email, social media, whatever AI is going to do. There's so many things that that data centers incorporate. Because Coffeyville owns and operates its own municipal electric utility, we're in a unique position, more unique than many communities, any in Montgomery County. That position is that we can evaluate whether these opportunities of data centers are a good fit for our community. Now, I recognize that public power is not a term that everyone hears every day. I'm actually at the American Public Power Conference right now, part of an association that we get membership through GRDA on. Public power simply means that our electric utility is owned by the people of Coffeyville rather than by private investors. So decisions about our electric system are made locally with the goal of course, providing safe, reliable, affordable service while supporting, of course, long-term needs of our community. And the decisions were even made in 2012 to get our new generation up and going, our new generation plant, with what is that to the benefit of the community. So I want residents to have the opportunity to learn about the issues that we see, about the opportunities that we see, ask questions, and understand the facts before any major decision is brought to you to make, before any decisions are considered by a commission. I also want to be very clear about one point. The point of public power, the benefit of public power, is that our existing electric customers come first. And so any proposal that we consider must protect the reliability of our electric system, ensure that existing customers are not subsidizing new development, and provide long-term value to the city of Coffeyville. And those are some of the standards that we've pushed these developers away over 2 years. But the private market is at work, and the private market is fixing a lot of the issues that we've had. For example, water. The first one wanted 3.5 million gallons a day. Today, data centers that are coming online, they're asking for less water than we'll deliver to the city of Caney in a day. It's about the water that would go towards 10 residential homes. So personally, I believe that having the data center come to Coffeyville represents a significant opportunity. And it's a big if structured correctly, it has the potential to strengthen our electric utility and create substantial new revenue, ultimately for the city. As you know, our general fund is about $12 million. The general fund is the things that property tax goes to pay. We cut our property tax by 51% in 25. That's obviously not county-wide, that's just the city tax. And our electric utility pays into that. Of that 12 million, about 4.2 million this last year in revenue came from the electric utility. And so again, that's a benefit of public power is the residents own it, and rather than that revenue that a shareholder would make, investment can go back into a community here. So there are significant opportunities, again, if structured correctly. We're going to put together here the next 30 to 45 days a public forum where we'll invite the community in, that we can explain what public power is and why there's a benefit to us here locally, that we can hear concerns about data centers to make sure we have all that information before we bring you decisions on should we engage with and discuss with data centers. We want to approach every proposal that's going to come to us, and I believe in the next 30 days we'll have 2 proposals from data center developers. We'll make sure we look at it carefully. We want to ask the difficult questions. We want the community to feel heard in those decisions and make decisions that are based on what is best in the long-term interest of our residents and our customers of our electric utility. So again, no decisions have been made, no agreements have been signed, nothing has been decided, and we will pull our community in. I want to quickly address sort of the top main issues. I've mentioned water. Will this make our water rates go up? Are they going to take too much of our water? And it's the ones we're talking to today, that's not the case. The next one is either environmental impacts, noise impacts, agricultural impacts. As you know, we have sites out north of the airport that are in city limits, that's city property, and so this is already at an industrial site versus trying to get 100 acres or 20 acres next to residents' homes. The idea of increasing my electric rates, again, because we're not making tax dollars off of them, although they're in the city limits and they buy the property and pay property tax. We have the opportunity to make significant investments that they will pay for, not on the city's backs, not on the customers' backs. They would pay for those upgrades. The people I've talked to most recently, we're talking they come in and they pay for a whole substation. They pay for upgrades to transmission lines. And so our intent would never be to do any deal with a data center that has the potential to put a burden on the end user, that they would have to fully take on 100% both of that risk and that cost to do business here. And while I'm here at the American Public Power Association, everyone is saying the same thing. And these data centers aren't blinking at that, because anytime you come, what they're being told is you pay for all of it. You pay for all of the upgrades, all the transmission upgrades. So they would be paying things that serve for residents. Regardless of all these things, I know there's still going to be concerns. I know there's a lot of information out there about data centers, and so that's why we're going to have that meeting. I'll have conversations with each of you commissioners as well to answer your concerns and questions so you can speak to this. But outside of just saying, trust me for now, this would be a better benefit for our community than any other community that is served by a private investor electric company, because we have public power. And so I think there are some differences. But this is just that forewarning that we are having those conversations, that we're expecting proposals to come, and we want to make sure that our community, our electric customers understand and have an opportunity to express their concerns so that you can take all of that into consideration before ever making any decisions. Any questions on that?
Ben, you mentioned $12 million was annual, I believe, from power. What's a projected rate for that to go up if a data center were in place?
So the $12 million is the cost of our general fund right now.
Mhm.
So generally what I'm talking about in general fund is not the enterprise fund. It's not the electric business or that water business we have. This is police, this is fire, this is streets, this is parks. This is the community development work we do. These are things that are generally paid for by property taxes. But in our town, they have been for a long time. The building you're all sitting in was paid for by the electric department. And so what I'm saying is it's not necessarily that 12 million will go up or down, is that as your electric utility can become healthier and have a large load user like that is going to pay millions of dollars in rates, that ultimately supports the general fund. Every year we go and look at from a budget standpoint of how much money does the general fund need and where do we take it from. In 2025, commissioners chose to not take as much property tax and take more from the electric utility. So the 12 million is not necessarily connected directly to a data center and what they provide, but the electric utility that we own is the largest contributor to funds to support the general fund.
I guess to simplify that question is, what is a projected profit for a data center locally?
So the data centers that are coming to us are not the large data centers. These aren't the 1,000-acre 1 or 2 gigabytes. One of the reasons they're coming to us in Coffeyville is today we have about 40 megawatts of available electricity to give out. And that's because we've had some big users in the past that have left Industrial Park. They're not used as much. So we have excess load already. And so they're coming in and they're wanting to scoop up what's not being used, which is around 30 to 4 megawatts, and then potentially grow to 100 megawatts over time. And of course, they would have to, that growth would be completely dependent on what they're going to spend. I project, and I want to say this very carefully because there's negotiations and conversations and proposals, and they could be higher or lower. But after all costs are covered, including upgrades to transmission lines and substations, a 30 megawatt load, we could be looking at about a $3 million in, I don't want to say revenue, but that would be extra revenue. This is not the tax side, the general funds, your enterprise fund. And so that would be $3 million that could go back into your electric utility to support, whether that supports the general fund, that supports other upgrades, all obviously to be determined. But you're probably looking at about $3 million on the positive side after all expenses.
And that's annually, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, you're saying net revenue from that
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What happens if we get in a
now
drought?
they want to get to 100, and so you can start doing that math based on 30 megawatts and 3 million. Again, that's a very, where I'm coming up with that calculation is what market rates are per kilowatt hour out there, generally for users like this. Again, there's a lot to factor into that. We do have one other large load customer, which is CRNF. We have a very specific agreement with them. These agreements include, if there's a winter storm Uri, that they just have to come off, that we're not going to supply them during that time. So there's a lot that goes into those agreements before you ultimately decide. This isn't just someone comes and builds and you give them electric. This is outside of our current rate structure. There is no load greater than, I believe it's 20 megawatt. So when you're above that 20, you get into specialized agreements, and that's what they're doing proposals here for.
So what happens if we get in a drought like we've been in for the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years?
What happens? Did you say what happens if there's a drought?
Yes, a water drought.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, we're talking about the use of 10 homes annually, and so this is not the 2.8 to 3.5 million gallons a day that they need. And so if there are droughts, if there are shortages in power because of winter storm and gas prices, right, all of that is worked into those agreements and contracts, that there is not a hindrance upon the systems that we have in place. And part of that, on the electric side anyway, is not necessarily the water side, is dictated today by the SPP, who have their own rules on these high load users. And for example, we have that today. We had a winter storm this year that we thought was going to be really bad. One of the first calls that we give to is to CRNF to let them know we may have to shave their load off. Now they don't like that. They don't want that to happen. That's not good for them. But that's how it works with those large load users. I don't anticipate. I wouldn't call this a large load user on water overall compared to the high users we have from rural water districts down. This is under all of them. And I don't. There is no agreements. There's nothing in place. You will get all of this information. You will be part of those conversations on whatever proposal they present, and if you even want to entertain it, and if so, what would be those details that we'd have. And I'm bringing this up because I expect within, like I said, about probably around 30 days to start getting some of these proposals from them that then you commissioners have to decide what to do with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on data center?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Anything else? Bill?
The community group and the school district have been in conversations with me, and I expect that here in a few months they'll want to call upon us for the previous commitments, also from the Economic Development Fund that the commission at the time last year gave. And so we are putting together documents right now. I have a draft that needs to go to Paul that we'll be bringing to commission to see if commission is going to fund that. If you recall, that letter of commitment essentially was for a bridge loan up to $600,000 with payment details back. And so we're building those documents. I've had people in the community ask me where that's at, and it is time for us to start putting that together. So probably within the next, I would assume by the end of July, we'll have something to bring to commission for further conversation on the pool. The next thing I wanted to bring up, last meeting we talked about the railroad, and commissioners weren't overly thrilled with the option of paying a portion of the railroad to come in and fix some of their crossings. I have some messages out to some state authorities to answer questions and see what other support or really what power we have to force this to happen. The one answer I've gotten back so far is not positive on the forcing side. There are regulations. They have to meet those and address those, but there's nothing from a regulation standpoint that is making them have to show up, tomorrow and do these crossings. And so I just wanted to say it out loud again. If there's any desire for the city to spend some of its transportation sales tax dollars to support the railroad and getting some of these crossings done. And I would just want to say the reason I'm bringing that up is we've had a number of commissioners and residents over the last 2 years really push us hard on what can we do. And there's not a lot we can do when it's under the railroad's direction. But this was one option that we've chased down
So any further thoughts on that, commissioners?
I thought there were state statutes that would force them to have passable better crossings. And that could be enforced by the Kansas Attorney General.
Yes, and that's one of the offices that I've communicated with and I've not heard back.
Ben, I've
Those who
probably,
have dealt with them in the past, I don't have a lot of positive experience of things happening going this route, but we are going that route. to
But I
determine
think
what we can
the
get.
statute is there.
yeah.
We just have to press that it be used.
Enforced.
Ben, I've spoken to at least 20 constituents, to include current and retired railroad folks, and they are all in agreement that there is no way they're going to feel comfortable with our tax dollars being spent to set a terrible precedence for other cities.
Doesn't sound like anything's changed, so we haven't moved forward and we won't move forward, and I will continue to chase all of our other options to encourage up to and include forcing to get these crossings done. Thank you. We had some pretty crazy storms this last week. I was actually at a boys' church camp down in Oklahoma, about an hour and a half away. And our second of 4 nights, we had to pack everyone up at about 9 o'clock at night and get out of there. We had power lines down, and the lake had come up about 10 feet, and trees were falling over. It was quite the crazy experience. At the same time, over the next few days, we had major issues throughout Montgomery County, throughout the area. And so I want to thank our employees, both fire, PD, the public safety group, our public works and our electric, as people are, under their roofs trying to stay dry and warm and get out of flooding. They're out there working and supporting those that couldn't get out of that flooding, that may have gotten stuck or had issues. And so just a big thank you to the men and women who are going out when everyone else is coming in to make sure that our community is safe. We really appreciate everything they do. We have 2 air conditioning units that we're still evaluating to determine if they were fried in lightning storm, as well as a pump out behind Parmac. So as we get that data, determine if we have any damages from those storms, we'll submit that through our county emergency manager. And so if there's enough damage done in counties and throughout the state, you can apply for funds. I'm not sure that we'll have anything significant enough to contribute, but whenever there's storms like that and possible damage to both city property, we're always on top of that and trying to see what options there are. I believe Mr. Ryan Mueller was in the audience. I don't know if he's still there. I did reach out to him. I heard the public comment and offered him to come in. He's come in before. We've discussed, and he's always very easy to get along with. And as he mentioned in his public comment, it should be easy to explain. I think most of the questions that I heard that he had are easy to explain. There's a lot of details that we share in commission meetings when requesting those things that go with that. And so I have reached out and offered to meet with him. I still look forward to getting that email and doing our best to address those concerns and questions. 250 years this week that we celebrate. It's an amazing time. I'm actually in Boston. This conference is paid for through GRDA. I'm able to come with other public power, but to be here in Boston, sort of the birthplace of a lot of the freedoms and liberties we have, it's when you just take a moment and think about it, it is very overwhelming. We live in a wonderful country that I love. I love red, white, and blue. I've been buying way too many T-shirts and hats that say 250 on them. It's just a great time of year. I hope everybody remembers that and has a happy 4th of July, Independence Day, and celebration of 250 years. The only other thing, Mr. Mayor, that I have is just a reminder for executive session. There will be a portion where I will join. If one of the commissioners could just dial me in, that would be appreciative since I'm not there in person. I will hang up once the meeting is done on this side and just come in on your phone. And barring any other questions, that's all I have for you tonight.
Thanks, Ben.
I'm getting some reports that there's some, I wouldn't call it major damage, but the tennis courts are being defaced to a certain extent. I don't know if it's painting, spray paint, or chalk, or whatever on the courts, and the kids are still up there on bicycles and skateboards. Even with the signs, there's little attention being paid to a sign. What can we do?
Well, I think we put some information out on Facebook asking everyone to pay attention to those signs. Hopefully kindly remind people that are out there as well. So a lot of money, a lot of investment went into this. We'd like to keep it as nice as we can for as long as we can. It wasn't necessarily just chalk. It was actually, it appears to be, red rock or some type of rock. And so even when cleaning the chalk off, there was scratch marks. There are scratch marks from bicycle pedals, I believe, as kids are driving around. So, I've had a lot of concern about it. And a lot of people have brought it up. Of course, we have the rules. PD are aware of that. They're watching as well. It's very difficult to watch and police something like that. So we really ask the community to support us in that by reminding each other peacefully, nicely, kindly to please take care of a community asset.
All right. And Paul, might take a note here. Commissioner Hendricks mentioned the possibility of a state statute forcing the railroads to do that. Take a look at Kansas statute 66, or where to go, 66-227 of 2012.
Okay.
And it talks about duty of anybody that has a railroad or crossing to keep those in good repair. So if you could take a look at that and delve into that a little deeper and give us a report at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I have read that KSA. That was part of my communication with the state to reference that. And so I absolutely can give a report. Probably do some follow-up here in the next week at the state to see if we can get more responses on that.
Okay, any other questions? Would we move the City of Coffeyville payment reports to this point prior to the executive session?
Yep, let's get that done.
All right, let's go ahead and get that if you would, Vice Mayor.
Yep, payment report. So we had Alger Martin and Associates for water and wastewater depreciation replacement reserve, $36,262. Asplin tree trimming, $18,397.65. Atmos Energy, that's for new meters, $27,746.24. B&G Consultants, that's for that's street repair. Did we decide that's a street repair for $8,209.11. Grand River Dam Authority, $3,191,308.32. J. Graham Construction, that's for the CRMC Street Improvement Project and the parking lots and the steam plant roof, $213,046.45. Kansas Department of Revenue for sales tax, $73,866.38. Southwest Power Pool for electricity, $971,626.42. Superior Bowen Asphalt Company for cold patch asphalt, $8,588.85. Southwest Power Administration, $15,007.56. Goins Enterprises, that's water and wastewater, $193,476.25. JKS Construction, that's for stormwater, depreciation and replacement, $60,049. Timco Blasting, that's the 8th Street water line repair, $491,675.08. Stella Corporation for utility poles, $16,577. Toth and Associates for the SCADA engineering, $21,093.75. KMG Gas Supply, $322,593. Midwest Public Risk of Kansas, that's insurance, $640,335. Viola Water, and that's more wastewater and water depreciation, $249,050. Green Country Auto Sales, those are the 2016 trucks we agreed upon last meeting, $89,990. Hatchet Buick, that is for the Animal Control Officer's vehicle. We had a not to exceed of $38,000 and we stayed under at $34,186. Hampel Oil, that's for Avgas, $42,024.70. The library for their tax distribution, $98,539.20. And then we had a payroll of $966,414.58.
And if I make a comment on that, that is two payrolls that covers.
payrolls.
That's not just one payroll. I want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay.
And I did want to point out that $304,000 were spent this last period on street repairs. So Coffeyville is doing a good job of getting streets repaired. It's not quick, it's not cheap, but we are getting it done. Thank you.
Any questions on anything there, Commissioners?
I do. In the general, at the end, it says a funeral service on June 9th.
Yes, I'll have to take a little bit closer look at that because that has to do with, I'm assuming that's going to have to do with the prepaid services that we have to honor. So I'll verify that for you. I don't know the inner workings of how that works off the top of my head. So
All right, $1,380.
Well, I think that's actually a good time, and I don't know if Melissa or Marty would be better to explain how we, I don't know if inherited is the correct word, the cemetery and past expenses. Melissa, do you want to try to describe that for new commissioners?
Sure. So Restlawn Cemetery went bankrupt, and the city had the responsibility to take over Restlawn Cemetery. When we took over Restlawn Cemetery, we had found that the previous owners had sold a lot of pre-need services. This included anything from plots, vaults, opening and closing, headstones. A lot of pre-need services were bought by citizens of Coffeyville. And so when we took over Restlawn, then that became our responsibility. So if somebody comes and goes to the funeral home and they have a pre-need that they had paid for these services when Restlawn was not under the control of the city is now having to take that responsibility. It's not the citizens' fault that the company went bankrupt, and of course, at the worst days in their lives, they're having to come and plan the services. The last thing they're needing to hear is, oh, well, sorry, yeah, that we didn't own it, that's not our fault. So we don't do that. We honor all of those pre-need services that were sold by the previous company. It's difficult. Unfortunately, we don't have one master list that we can reach out to everyone. They were all done in different files. Attempts have been made to go through these files to get all of that information, and it's very overwhelming. So, most people have held on to their paperwork. They know they have the pre-need services. So when those come to us, we honor those, whether it's the vault, the opening and closing, the headstones. We just feel that's appropriate for our citizens, that we take on that responsibility, because it's not their fault that, they paid for these services, for this to be taken care of, not to be a burden on their loved ones. And yeah.
And part of the city taking over the cemetery there was funds that the city received on behalf, and those funds were not near enough to cover essentially the liability burden that is out there. And when you bought a headstone or a monument or something 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, you prepaid for it. You didn't get those services at the time, and so they're now we have to buy those at the cost today. So it is a struggle to manage that for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then, we have what amounts to 2 separate executive sessions, if I read this correctly.
It's just one
Essentially,
session.
it's one session, but
Yeah,
there
you
are
can
two-
do it.
two components.
Yep, in one motion. So yeah, you can do how many minutes.
Okay, so
and
we'll
then
make
bring
one
it.
motion to cover both.
Yes,
All right.
correct.
I move to recess to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel as permitted by the non-elected personnel matter exception to the Open Meetings Act as set forth in KSA 75-4319B1, to include the city attorney for a period of
I would say 10 minutes on my part.
10 minutes, then to include the city manager for a period of 20 minutes.
Okay.
20.
Is that enough?
For a total of 30 minutes, to reconvene in the commission room at 8.
No.
Make it 9:15.
9:15.
Make it 9:15.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples, to recess to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel as permitted by the non-elected personnel matter exception to the Open Meetings Act as set forth in KSA 75-4319B1, to include the city attorney for a period of 10 minutes, then to include the city manager for a period of 20 minutes, to reconvene in the commission room at 9:15 p.m. Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye. That gives you a few minutes.
Yeah.
We are reconvened from executive session, and action will be taken. Vice Mayor, would you please read?
All right, I make a motion to extend the contract of our city manager, Ben Brubaker, by 1 year and increase his salary by 5%.
5.15%.
5%.
Which will take it to.
5.15. Just
Okay.
Okay.
We have a second?
Second.
motion is made by Vice Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Golden, to extend the city manager Ben Brubaker's contract 1 more year and increase his salary 5.15%. Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
There being no other business, I move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.
We're good.